Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Sean, and he's selling his Amazon KDP business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Sean. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Great, it's good to have you on, and I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. It's an Amazon KDP business in the books niche, created in October 2016. The average monthly revenue for the business is $27,376, and it makes an average of $22,382 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 52251 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. We have the Amazon KDP account with 200 ebooks, 400 physical books, and 170 audiobooks, a domain and all site contents and files, an email list with 11,000 subscribers, social media accounts for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest, SOPs, freelancer contracts and relationships, and employee contracts and relationships. Okay, Sean, now let's hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so I'm currently 26 years old, and I found out about passive income and how you can make money while you sleep instead of trading your time for money. And so when I first learned about the concept, I got hooked, and I'm like, this is what I want to do. So I started many different businesses, and I failed for a good 4 years since 18. And when I was around 22, I think it was 21 or 22, I found out about Amazon publishing. It's funny the way I found out about the business is because I was just randomly scrolling through YouTube on how to make money online. And one of the videos that I found was a guy talking about how Kindle publishing or KDP publishing is one of the most easiest ways to make money online. So I was like, that's interesting. And so I bought his course, started, taking action. And the first book that I ever published made money. So I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So I just kept doing it. And the second book I published made money. Third one made money. And I just kept going and going and going. And the more books that I published, the more my income stacked up to the point where I just kept going very consistently for almost 5 years now. And it built to this point. And then I, built up a infrastructure in the business as well, not just publishing books, but build a audience and blog and Facebook group and whatnot. But in terms of my business background, that's the main background I have. And on the side, I got into blogging for add on to the publishing business. So the blog website is for the publishing business. I do have a little bit of experience in affiliate marketing, YouTube, and a bit of e-commerce, but my main experience is in Kindle publishing.
Wow, that's a really inspirational story and a lot to unpack there. And I want to first say that's sort of the great thing about Amazon is it gives people with not so much experience the opportunity to get started in the online business world. And it's really great that it's worked out for you. Was there anything that you learned from your previous businesses that you started prior to this one that we have for sale today that you applied when building this business?
I don't think so. Besides the main, I feel like the technical skills was pretty unique to publishing. KDP publishing, the keyword research, how to create a book, those are very specific skills or knowledge for that business. It's very simple. The steps required to make money in this business is a lot less than other businesses, like e-commerce or blogging, for example. There are very few steps, and the learning curve isn't that much. But in terms of, if there was something I transferred over, I would just say the mindset of just staying consistent, not giving up too early, and I guess the fundamental marketing skills like building an audience, email marketing, those kind of things definitely help.
Absolutely, yeah. There's certainly transferable skills from other businesses. The foundational knowledge of business in general is good to have. And you mentioned, you're talking about how you launched a book and then it was successful, and then you launched another one, and then you started to grow an audience, and then you added the blog. Could you just take us a bit deeper into the sort of journey that you went through when growing this business?
Basically, just for the first, I would say, a year, I was just publishing books in random niches, trying to find out, is this niche better? Is this niche better? And I was kind of taking a shotgun approach to just testing out different niches. And then after that, I started narrowing down on a few niches that worked really well for me. And then from there, I started collecting emails and building an audience base. From there, I filtered those email lists into the main email list where I do promotions like sell people the book at a discount. And then I also have a separate email list just for advanced review copy team. So people who are looking to read the book for free in advance in exchange for a review. So right now I have about 300 members in the advanced review copy team. So one of the biggest issues with Kindle publishing is hard to get reviews initially when you get started. So this kind of solves that problem. So now getting reviews is not really an issue for me. So it's like a huge advantage I have. And also the main list is about 11,000 people total across, different lists. But the main list, I would say, has about 8,000 to 9,000 on. That's for the main pen name I have. And then I have the other pen names with a couple thousand each for the size. And then I expanded into blogging and Facebook group to try and capture a wider net in terms of traffic. And those are still very slow because it's still new, and there are huge potential, especially with Facebook group. You can kind of treat it the same as an email list. So you can get reviews and get sales from there. And my Facebook group is to the point where it's ranking on the Facebook search results organically. So now I'm getting, 5, 10, or even more member requests every single day organically, where people are trying to join the group. And so it's becoming very passive. You just need to manage and post content once in a while. So that's very, very cool. And then the blog side is up to about 5,000 monthly traffic. And again, not all of the traffic will convert to Amazon, like book sales. But with the blog, my idea is that you can expand into affiliate marketing, straight up from there. You can also sell books and you can also get reviews. So there's so much potential with the blog side. So it's just starting off, but I can definitely see like how good it can be, I think. But that's what I've been up to.
So yeah, it's great stuff. And yeah, like you say, that bloggers offers another opportunity for a buyer who could really grow it up and, like you say, make some affiliate income from there. I see on your listing page that you went through Amazon KDP, but also ACX, Ingram Spark, as well as a few other sort of platforms. Can you just talk us through the sort of divide of where you get your income from and sort of how you earn money through those platforms?
Yeah, so KDP is the main one. This includes the ebook and paperback on Amazon. And the second highest earner will be audiobook, and that will be on ACX platform or audible.com. So Audible is also part of Amazon, right? It's a sister company that they have. So what's interesting is KDP is the highest because you can run ads to books. Audible actually doesn't have an option to run ads, so the marketing is limited. So it's more so just upload and forget it kind of thing right now, unless maybe in the future they implement ads. So it's actually amazing the fact that KDP is the highest because we're running ads and we're spending money, but Audible is the second highest without running ads, meaning it's 100% passive and 100% pure profit on that side, except for the production cost, of course, which is very low. And there's other channels that we can upload our books to, like Draft2 Digital, Google Play Store. The Draft2 Digital is a aggregate store where you upload your book, and then from there they send out your books to different stores. So like iTunes, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Rakuten, and a couple other stores that I forgot the name. So Draft2 Digital, makes a little bit of money as well every month, super steady. And then also Google Play itself, you can upload it directly, makes a good amount, very steady as well. Ingram Spark is another channel that you can upload for paperback books, where they send your book to a bunch of stores, and I believe there's some libraries that they send their books to. And Ingram Spark makes a couple thousand a month, and again, very, very steady. So these aggregate channels that we send to, it's extremely steady, and there's no marketing required. You just upload, and it starts selling after. I can't really, promise that, but typically it just sells on its own. And then there's also audiobook aggregates like this. So Find Away Voices is kind of the audiobook version of Draft to Digital. So I make a bit over there as well. So in terms of sales channels, there's a bunch, and there's many, many different ways to make money from self-publishing from the same book. So it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's starting to sound like you've set this business up very well, having multiple sources of traffic and multiple sources of income. I mean, we always preach about the importance of diversity in business here at Empire Flippers. So that's really great to see. It sounds like you've got a great business here. So naturally, I'm curious as to why you're selling it right now.
So the reason why I'm selling it is that I've been building it for about 5 years. And the task itself is very simple, right? The day-to-day. But it is kind of a repetition of the same thing, from like researching the book, outsourcing the production, marketing it, and then on to the next one. I'm a little bit burnt out, to be honest. And as we all know, building a business, you can get it close to completely passive, but you probably will not get to 100% passive, even if you're building a team. You still have to oversee the production of your team and, the work of your team. So that's why I still spend about an hour or two a day. Although that's not much, it still takes me a little bit of mental, energy to do that, as well as a little bit of time. I'm really interested in building a new business more aligned with my passion. And that's a personal branding business that I want to do. And I do want to start, doing more YouTube and also sell information products and whatnot. And to do that, running paid ads is very profitable if you're selling info courses. And for that, I need capital. So selling this business would be good to get the capital for that. That's one reason. Another reason is that again, I'm a little burnt out, so I kind of wanted to travel a bit. And, if I'm traveling, even with an hour or two a day, might be a little tough sometimes if I don't have Wi-Fi at whatever location I'm in. And so I thought maybe it's good to just, let it go in this way and take about a year or two off before I come back again. Because, frankly, since 18, I've been really grinding, having that Gary Vaynerchuk, 24/7 hustle kind of life. And it's been about 8 years doing that, and the majority of my 20s, I sacrificed just everything to just focus on the business. And I'm slowly coming to a realization that I want to balance things out a little better. So that's another reason as well.
So yeah, certainly sounds like you're due a holiday, Sean. Yeah. Is there anything you've learned from building this site that really worked out for you? What was some of the biggest successes?
So I had a massive jump in my income when I made the shift from trying to publish as many books as I can, while, if you're going too fast, you're compensating quality. And although I've always focused on quality, I wasn't focusing as much as I should have, I feel. And so when I shifted from a 4-star average quality book to absolute 5-star quality book, and really paying a little more in terms of production costs, but making the book absolutely epic, the income jumped. And what's interesting is that, later on I found out that Amazon has a popularity ranking. So they determine where to rank your book in the search results based on popularity of the book. And a popularity has many different factors. It's not just the book that gets the most sales. It's a combination of sales, the book price, because if the price is higher, Amazon makes money by selling it. Also, how many of those people who read the book goes to leave a review, and how many of that is positive reviews. So there's some conversion percentage of that people or Amazon looks at. And also, again, how many people actually who buys, reads, and then when they read, how many pages are they reading? Are they reading 10% of the book and then like dropping it? Because that's a sign that the book isn't as good. Then they'll stop promoting it as much, right? So if everyone who reads it is reading all the way to the end, then that's a very good sign that sends a signal to Amazon to rank your book a little higher. So going back to, again, the quality is the number one thing. And when I started focusing heavier on that, the book started selling much more. So that'll be the number one thing that I've learned.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a great lesson. It's surprising what Amazon can track. Nowadays, I didn't know they could track how many pages people read of books, so that's certainly interesting. But what about on the flip side of things? What are some things that you tried that didn't work out for you?
I think the exact opposite of that. Well, you know what? With publishing, I think, the margin of error is very, very low, because even with the books that completely flopped for me, it's actually amazing because I have about 200 plus books, and I can literally count on one hand how many books never made me ROI. So most of the books that, even though after launch and everything, it doesn't do as well, it still sells on Amazon. It's still on Amazon, and it's super weird. I don't know how people find it, but even if it's on like page 5 or lower of the main search keyword, it still sells a little bit every month pretty consistently. And then you can go and upload that as an audiobook. And sometimes, even though it flops on Amazon, it completely kills it on Audible. And sometimes, you upload it on Draft to Digital and it explodes there. And then, or you upload on Ingram Spark and it kills it there. So there's many different ways to make money. So in terms of like what didn't work, it's hard to say, because even the ones that didn't work usually makes me the money back. So it's not a complete waste of time, but the ROI was bigger if I focused on high quality books. I would say what wouldn't work is really, I guess, just like if you're spamming low quality books, which is something I never really done, but that's what I see where people make the biggest mistakes. And also another mistake I just realized where people make is not SEO optimizing their book titles. So Amazon has its own SEO. Like if people are looking for a social media marketing book, then they're going to type in social media marketing in the search bar, right? So if your book title is literally called social media marketing, then your book will show up on page 1 of the search results. So that is playing the SEO. And a lot of people, they don't do this. A lot of people, they try to be fancy with their book title. But some people will say, make the book title of a social media marketing book, like crush it with social media or something. Like it's not including the whole social media marketing keyword in it. And so that is why they're missing out on the entire SEO traffic. You can still get the traffic from running paid ads, but why not both, right? You can pay for traffic or you can get free traffic. And from book number 1, I've always focused on doing free traffic, SEO optimized titles. And also I run ads as well. But I believe this is kind of the major difference between me and other people and why my books are so passive, is because I've always focused on SEO.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've covered a few traffic sources and sort of marketing strategies that you use. But just to sort of crystallize it for the listener, what are the main marketing channels you use, how you do your marketing, and what sort of percentage of traffic do they generate? Which one do you focus your most attention on, and which ones are you also get traffic from but you don't pay as much attention to?
Right. So every single book goes through a launch process, which is pretty systematized. It's the same thing every time, where they get released at 99 cents first, which is a discounted price, 99 cents on Kindle. And through there, we promote the book on not only our own email list, but also to different book promotion sites that we can just pay a little bit of money and they promote it to their email list, as well as we gather reviews from our review team. And so the idea is for about a first week or two, we get as many reviews and as many 99-cent purchase as possible. And this just tells Amazon that, hey, this book is in demand. People are buying this book, so you should probably rank it. So after a week or two of that, we switched to full price, and then we started running AMS ads. So this is Amazon's ads. So the ad spots you see on Amazon is what it is. This is more of like a ongoing thing. So in terms of where the majority of traffic comes from, I would say it's a mix of SEO, again, and AMS ads, so the paid traffic side. I don't run Facebook ads because I'm in nonfiction, so it's a little harder to convert people into or make ROI with Facebook ads compared to fiction. And a little bit from traffic and Facebook groups, but not so much yet. So mainly it's AMS ads, Amazon ads, and SEO in terms of traffic.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting launch strategy that sort of refined through experience, and it's really good for a buyer to know that so they can sort of learn from that or maybe add their own thing and own twist to it. As for what a buyer can do with the business, what do you think are the major opportunities for growth?
Yeah, so the major opportunity for growth I see two ways, because my direct, and when I say this, I'm not just talking about coming from a theory that sounds nice, but it's not proven. It's actually proven because my direct competition in the exact same niche that is doing the exact same thing is doing this and getting really good results. So I have about 2 other self-published authors that are in the direct competition, and they're actually killing it. So they're doing much better than me. And what they do, one of them is simply they're just publishing high quality books. They just keep adding more books into their portfolio, basically, because the more books you have under the same pen name. So this is why you don't really want to expand into another pen name unless you can juggle both. You have the time for it, then you definitely can. But for me, I just wanted to kind of simplify things and focus on the 1 to 2, or actually 2 pen name, but one of them is the big hitter that generates majority of the income. I just wanted to focus on that and create this like brand, huge brand with super high quality books underneath, because the way it works with Amazon is you want to increase your lifetime customer value as much as possible. So if you have one book under a pen name, no matter what you do, the customer can only buy one book because that's all you have in your portfolio. But if you have 5 books that are related to each other that solves a similar but different problems, then a customer can find one of your book and then be like, ooh, this author has this other book, which is also like what I was looking for. So then they could buy 2, 3, 4, 5 books, right? Potentially. Then the amount of money you make from the same customer dramatically increases. And so if you're running ads, it's a legit strategy that a lot of people take, is to run ads at break even or at a slight loss. And you can only do this if you have this collection of books under the same pen name or brand. Because if you're running ads at a loss and if you only have one book, then you're essentially just losing money. But if you're running ads at a loss, even slightly, you know that you're making up the money in terms of the sell-through of someone buying more than one of your books. So in terms of scaling from here, what I would definitely do is to keep adding books into the same brand that I built and just keep adding to that portfolio, doing the same thing, but more books in it. And from there, try and see how you can increase your lifetime customer value even more. And right now, the back end is where I would see the biggest growth. So my email list is getting to a pretty good size, but it's not monetized as well as it can be. I get about 40 to 60 new subscribers every single day to an email list. So they should be going through like a better, because I have a email follow-up, sequence set up, but I'm not pitching any like high ticket products that I could be pitching. And this is what my other direct competition that I mentioned earlier is, that he's in the exact same niche. And when you subscribe to his email list, you will see that he's actually created his own information product that he pitched to the email subscribers. It's about $200 to $400, I believe. And we strategize sometimes as well. So he mentioned that, it sells very well. He's actually making a killing from it. So that is probably the easiest way to make more from your same customer and increase your back-end income. And in terms of what to make for this like info product, it's actually really easy because what he did is that he basically just took his best-selling book and then hired somebody to make a slide for it, and then hired a narrator to kind of read the slides and teach the lessons, and then hired a sales copywriter to make the sales page and the landing page and everything, and then put it all together, and there's a course. So he didn't even make any part of it, so you can just outsource that as well. But I believe that would be the next biggest step, and that is something that it's definitely, if I wouldn't sell the business, that is something that I would do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it almost feels like sometimes there's so much focus on getting new traffic, new audiences, but why not make the most of the audience that you already have, who's more likely to buy from you repeatedly, So yeah, that totally makes a lot of sense. As for the day-to-day work in general for this business, what type of work do you do on this side for maintenance?
Yeah, so it's pretty much just overseeing the VAs and the freelancers' work, because I still make sure each step is done correctly. Sometimes there are little errors, of course, that you don't really want to miss. So when I order formatting and I get the book formatted back, then I just go through it real quick. When I outsource the proofreading too, I just check real quick. Even when I'm outsourcing the book covers, right, you still want to kind of work with the cover designer to see which direction you want to go. Because as you build this business, you start to develop an eye on what kind of keyword works. So basically what works and what doesn't. And the cover designer has an eye as well in terms of graphic design, but then you kind of want to strategize with the person. And so I go back and forth a little bit with her. The majority of the time is basically spent on keyword research, which whenever I do it, I basically create 1 to 2 new books a month, and each one takes about an hour or two of keyword research and also creating a book title. So I do my own book titles and then a little copywriting for that. And then I do a rough draft on the book outline based on what I think people would want to be included in this book. That's done based on just looking at other best-selling books on the same topic and see what they've written in their book. And then I just include what I liked about those ones, and I kind of see if I can add something unique to our book as well. But create a outline, and then I send it off to the writer, and then the writer gets back to me and in terms of like what he thinks is best for the book outline. Because the writers that I hire, they have personal experience on the topic. So not only that they're a good writer, they're actually an expert on the topic. So we just kind of go back and forth there as well. So that's kind of the day-to-day task for me. And then all the other times are spent based on more big picture stuff. So how can I expand it? How can I, what's the next move? Is it publishing more books? Or periodically, I go and bundle those books and create a big book bundles. And that's what I'm working on right now, making about 5 bundles based on the combination of books that I had. And then also periodically, I see what books are not selling on Amazon that I can take it off of Amazon exclusive to upload to Draft to Digital or other channels like Finaway Voices and whatnot. So I just kind of go through the big picture stuff.
Yeah, it's good for a buyer to know that you've set up a business that doesn't require a lot of their time, so they can focus on this big picture stuff. But as for the buyer, what skills or requirements do you think there are for someone who's not familiar with this niche or business model?
I would say basic keyword research would be the skill that you should probably develop. The good thing is it's very easy. And even in my SOP, I believe I have that. If not, I can add it into my SOP because it's super simple. I actually have a YouTube video that covers how to do it too. So keyword research, unless you want to outsource it, but I feel like it's something that you should do. So keyword research and also, cover design, again, I feel like you should know what makes a good cover or not, because the designer is good, but you still want to make sure that it's there's a good example. It's a little hard to explain, but a good example would be that the designer doesn't know that a white cover doesn't look good on Amazon because Amazon has a white background. So white on white cancels each other and it's very hard to find. You can tell them that. And for my designer, she knows, but sometimes they forget, right? So those things you have to know yourself to really like check. So those are the little things that you can just pick up over time, which is very easy. Besides that, basic marketing skills, I would say, I guess. Email marketing. If you know copywriting, that'll help a lot on creating book titles, creating book description, writing emails when it's time to launch a book or if you want to promote any other products. But in terms of, again, the learning curve is very shallow. I'm sure that the buyer can pick it up pretty easily.
Absolutely, yeah, and having those SOPs in place will certainly help them understand the operations of the business. And what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I wouldn't say there's much risk, unless the biggest risk, of course, is losing your account. And that doesn't really happen unless you create a book in like a trademark term. So if you make a book on like Harry Potter or Pokemon or Instant Pot, for example, those are the perfect example books that people make sometimes, and then they lose their account because it's trademarked. And that's kind of common sense in terms of if you're coming into business, you should know that you shouldn't really randomly make a book about that, right? And there is a way to check trademarks easily in seconds. So as long as you make sure you check your trademarks every time you create a book, the chances of you getting banned is, very low. And so the other risk would be not making your money back from your book. But again, I mentioned earlier that it's even if you may not make ROI as fast as you wanted to, if the book flops, you're probably still going to make it, over time, at least from my experience, because it's still going to stay on Amazon. It's going to keep selling. And then you can still upload it on Drafted Digital Audio, Ingram Spark, and then it's going to keep selling on there. I've had many, many books that absolutely did nothing on Amazon. But then when I uploaded on Google Play Store, it started making like $100 a month every single month. And I made ROI after a couple months, right? Sometimes you upload it on Audible and it does thousands a month. Same thing as Ingram or Drafted Digital. So you really never know. And it's really hard to kind of fail, I would say, in this business.
Yeah, excellent stuff. So we've covered a lot of great things today, Sean. Super interesting backstory, and the growth of the business is interesting as well. But just to sort of wrap everything up in a neat package, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I think it's a good business to buy just, based on how passive it is, how easy it is to come in. It's not like other businesses where you have all these things you need to learn. Again, the steps that you take in publishing that you have to learn is a lot less than other businesses. Also, because of the portfolio of books that we already have that is generating passive income, and the brand books and the quality of books that we have in there, as well as the team that we built with all the freelancer contracts, VAs, and the relationship that we have. I would say all of that kind of makes it easy for anybody to come in and just take over rather than trying to figure it out themselves. So I think that'd be the main thing.
Okay, yeah. Excellent stuff. So regarding the sale of the business, would you commit to a non-compete?
I would, yeah.
And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
I haven't really thought about it, but probably, I'm not sure what other setup people do, but if the buyer has any questions beyond 30 days, I'm happy to answer it via email too.
Excellent. And are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
No, I think that pretty much covers everything. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been great having you on. We've covered a lot of great stuff today. So thank you very much for your time, Sean. It's been great talking to you.
Nice talking to you too.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 52251. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.